This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht edition live on Facebook. Tonight we are joined by Peter de Beer from the Stayokay Maastricht, who will be telling us all about the hotel and their cleanup campaign. And we also have our usual fun and games with This Day in History, Matt Goes Dutch, and Tracy's Tidbits. So make sure to stay tuned.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. Hello, welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are again. And oh my goodness, what a week it has been outside. Not inside in our cozy little homes, but outside. We've literally had not just 4 seasons in one day, we've had every kind of weather that you could think of in our back garden. And I'm sure, Tracy and Matt, you've had exactly the same.
Yeah.
It wasn't just where you are, Joe. It was quite bizarre.
I have to bring my grapevine back inside.
Really?
Luckily, it's in a pot.
Oh,
There you
indeed.
go.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was quite fun. You know, Easter weekend, long weekend, started off looking quite promising. Bit of sunshine, blue skies, and sort of things started to get grayer. Then suddenly the snow did come, even though last week we were all thinking everyone was a bit crazy. Yeah, there's no snow, but there was. And we had 2 days of it, and now, as I look out, it's positively balmy. So
yes. Well, 2 days ago it was blizzard and then blue sky. Blizzard, blue sky. And as soon as the snow came, it kind of melted everything away, reset, and then came back down again. I mean, sorry, it's been messing with my head.
Hail as well. Did you get
Yes,
hail?
there was hail, there was wind, there was rain, there was everything. I mean, honestly, but yeah. Let's not dwell on it because, as you say, Tracy, it's lovely outside now. It's all beautiful blue sky. So hopefully that's what we've got for the rest of the year.
well, let's see.
We're living in the Netherlands.
This part of Western Europe, it's all a bit kind of unsettled, really, isn't it?
It certainly is. But how was your Easter anyway, guys? Did you get up to anything exciting?
Eating.
Exciting. Yeah, eating. Yeah, I think that was it, really, wasn't it? Yeah.
Food, and more food.
I made hot cross buns.
You made hot cross buns, Matt.
I did. They were great.
How were they? Were they
They
hot?
were really good.
Were they cross?
They were very crossed, yeah.
Were they not? Yeah, if you're going to eat them, they probably weren't very happy about that.
I was though. It was great.
I've not had a hot cross bun in many a year, I must say. Are they not difficult to make, Matthew?
Not really. It's just like normal bread with a bit of fruit in it. And then you glaze it.
When you bake them, isn't it?
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long. You just have to like beat them up a bit. And then
No wonder
let
they're
it rise,
cross.
and then beat it up again and cut it into balls, let it rise again, and then stick them in the oven.
It all sounds very aggressive in the kitchen, Matthew.
Let out all your frustration on dough.
That's it. I'm hungry now. Oh, goodness. So this evening we have got Peter de Beer, who's going to be joining us from Stayokay Maastricht. He's going to be telling us all about these hostels that we've got here in Maastricht and across the country, actually. So if you've got any questions, please do send them in for Peter. That'll be coming up later on in the show. We have all our usual segments, of course. But there's something that's happening today that we thought we might have a little chat about because apparently it's International Zoo Lovers Day. Yeah, well, I didn't know up until a few hours ago, Zoo Lovers Day. Apparently it should be an awareness day. They've made it an awareness day. So all you zoo lovers out there, well, it's a bit controversial, isn't it? That's the thing. It's a little bit controversial because, you know, there's this balance about, well, keeping animals in zoos, and then there's the conservation side of it as well, you know. And we do know not every zoo out there is all spacious and friendly and well maintained and so on and so forth. So, yeah, well, where are you on the zoos, Tracy?
Well, indeed, it is a bit of a controversial thing. I'm a little bit on the fence, so to speak, with the zoos. I also find it a bit sad if you go to a zoo in Ireland, for example, and you've got a tiger that should be much further away in the world. I
Yeah.
often wonder how they adapt with things. But then you read about the happy stories where you have the panda bears that are being bred in captivity to help keep the species
Yeah.
going. So that's a positive. It's really difficult, but I agree. I think that it really depends on the standard of the zoo and, of course,
Yeah.
the people who are working there. I remember probably my most positive experience in terms of zoos would have been the time I visited Taronga Zoo, which is in Sydney, Australia. And that was very well laid out, really like enormous. And it seemed like the animals were being really kept in huge areas and almost like as if they were in the wild, so to speak, to what extent they could do that. But then, of course, there's things like circuses as well, which is another area that you can go in, which I'm really glad now that the laws are coming in that there's no more live animals allowed
Yes.
for traveling circuses. So thank God that finally happened. So on the zoo question,
Yeah.
it's for me a sort of it depends kind of an
Yes.
answer, really.
Yes,
Not-
absolutely. Some of them have their place for sure, but then they need to come up to snuff, as we would say. Matt, what about you? When was the last time you went to a zoo?
About 5 years ago, maybe. I think the last zoo I went to was in Berlin. Berlin Zoo.
Right.
Yeah.
I've not been to the Berlin Zoo. Is
It's a nice
it any
zoo.
good?
It's quite old.
Mm.
I think it's Victorian, maybe.
Yeah, I know it's a very, very famous zoo.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really nice. I don't really remember that much. There were elephants.
Yeah.
There were elephants.
Okay, so when you go to a zoo or safari or some such place, do you have a favourite animal that you really want to see when you go? Okay.
Was that for us?
moving
I thought that was a
swiftly on.
rhetorical question.
Well, I love all the animals, so I'm happy to see them all. It depends what zoo you're at, because of course, if you're for example, in Australia, they've got things like platypus and wombats and things, which are just adorable. They have all the cute animals there.
And koalas, of course.
And koala bears, naturally. Go, well done, Joe.
And look, you just happen to have one. Cute.
So obviously, being from Ireland, we don't tend to have platypus roaming the hills. So those are particularly interesting because you never will get to see them otherwise.
That's true.
So I suppose it depends. It depends where you are, which zoo you're in, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, on the fence. How about you, Joe?
I get quite excited about giraffes, actually. I mean, I'm like you. I love animals. Full stop. I'm a huge animal lover. But there's something about giraffes because they're such a funny shape, and they have these massive, great big eyelashes. And most of the time, if you're up close, they're so pretty. Actually, they really are very, very pretty. So yeah, it's I like them. And there are some places that you can go to where they have the viewing area is kind of up in the air. So when the giraffes come to you, then you're sort of face to face with them, and it's all I can do to sort of just stop myself from reaching over and kissing them because I just think they're absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely. So yes. So so that's me. But I thought I would just share with you because as we are talking about animals that we love, I've got a couple of alpacas here. Now, I adore alpacas. I absolutely adore alpacas. But I've also got an awful lot of friends who think it's if I mention a particular animal that I like, they go and buy me a fluffy toy. I know I'm supposed to be grateful, but I'm a middle-aged menopausal woman. Stop buying me fluffy toys.
You can never have too many fluffy toys, Joe. I've got 2 teddy bears on the bed.
So and looking at this one, I mean, he's obviously eating a little bit too much. His belly's actually on the floor. His legs are too short. One of the two, I don't know. But yeah. But I do love alpacas. And we have an alpaca farm actually in the village here, which is absolutely adorable. So yes, when I go out for a walk, I get to walk past the lovely alpacas. So that's all very cute. So
Nice.
And finally, Matt, before we move on, favourite animal?
Favourite animal? I think penguins are quite fun.
They're adorable. Yeah, penguins are
just
just
quite
so
comical the way they walk around.
Yeah.
amazing creatures. recent some program. I think it was with the fabulous David Attenborough, where they were focusing on the penguins and how they also. It's amazing. Oh dear. Anyway, so I'm getting quite depressed. Let's move on. I'm worried about the plight of the world's animals now. So we need to go back to happy places.
Okay, well, let's see what. Listen, our happy place then, before we go to this day in history. Of course, it's time for Matt's review. So every week we give Matt an album to review as part of Tracy and my musical education of Matt, which is going extremely well. We've given him lots of different genres of music, and I think the scores, I don't think you've got any lower than, what, 4 or 5? I think
5 was the lowest.
I think 5 is the lowest. We've had a few 10s. So I would say this is all very positive. What's it going to be this week? Tracy, let's remind everybody, it was your choice last week of album for him to review. What did you choose?
Indeed, I decided it was time for our Matthew to start listening to music in a foreign language. So I chose for him the album Eros by Eros Ramazzotti from Italy.
That's it. Yes, we went all Italian. And Tracy and I got quite excited about this one because
he's
a bit of a dish.
We like Eros, yes.
We do like Eros.
But did Matthew? That's the question.
Okay, so Matthew, what did you think of Eros?
Well, I'm afraid I had no Eros for Eros. I didn't really enjoy this one, and not because it was in Italian. That wasn't the reason. I don't know. It just wasn't really my thing. I don't know. I just felt it was a bit like too emotional. Too.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't feeling it.
Oh, well, this is a first for you, Tracy.
Is it?
Well, it is, because so far all the albums that you have suggested for Matt, he's been very, very positive about.
They haven't done too badly, but interesting. Well, wow.
Where were you when you were listening to it, Matt?
Sorry?
Where were you when you were listening to it?
I was cooking, of course.
Were you beating up the hot cross buns?
No, I don't think so. I think it was like making dinner or something.
Okay, well, I don't know if I should ask, but how many minutes out of 10 did you give it?
I decided to give it a 5.
Okay.
Matt is a generous marker, isn't he? I didn't like the album at all.
I mean, it had some like benefits. I liked the fact that it was in Italian, and like some of the songs are okay, but I wasn't like, oh, I'd listen to this again. It was like, oh, okay.
Drag. Yeah, I suppose maybe it just depends. You need to be in a certain mood for certain music, perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's often an album I play when back in the day when we had people over for dinner, for example, remember that when you could have people around. It would be on the background. Yeah.
Eric says you're being too polite, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Who said that?
Eric.
Oh, right.
Eric is with us. Joel's in the house. Hello, Joel. He was our guest from last week. He says hello. He says he doesn't like zoos. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Chante Marie, first time tuning in. She's loving it, and she's a fan of sloths. I say she.
Oh, yes.
I'm assuming Chante is a female name. Oh my goodness. Chante Marie. It must be, mustn't it? Well, I apologise if I've got that wrong.
But I do not. But I love that he/she loves sloths.
Yes, I'm a sloth fan too. Yeah. I love it. I do like a sloth. I do have a sloth story, but I'm not going to go into that now. So we're sticking with 5 Matthews out of 10.
Okie dokie.
Okay, that's fine. But I tell you, we're going to do something a little bit different for next week's review, because normally I would be choosing an album for you to review for next week. Mm-hmm. And actually, our guest of last week, João, who is a Brazilian guitarist, as we know, he's actually recommended an album for us all to listen to.
Ah.
Quickly, confirmation. Laughing, yes, I am. All woman.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. No pictures. I just want to, no pictures. No pictures. So we'll take your word for it. So Joao has recommended a bossa nova album called Ellis and Tom that was released in 1974.
Ooh.
Oh.
This is
Googling
from
it now.
Ellis Regina and singer-songwriter Antonio Carlos, I think it's Hobim. So I'm going to send you a link to that album, Matt and Tracy, and all three of us are going to listen to this one for next week. So we're going to, I have a feeling, as this is a bossa nova album, I think there's going to be a little bit of rhythm going on there. Yeah?
Indeed. I can tell, Matthew, there are 14 tracks on this album, so it's not a very long album, so you'll be fine. Yes, indeed. And the first one is called Aguas de Marco, which means water of March. So interesting. I look forward to giving
Not water of April, then.
No, indeed. We're already in April. I've lost total track. My first...
That would put you off a little bit, wouldn't it?
Oh, God. It could be August at this stage. It's all merging together. But it looks very interesting. The songs are some around 3 minutes, some about only 1 minute long. Very short.
It sounds like an album for me, this does.
I think so. He's already preconditioned to like this one.
Well, I like a bit of bossa nova. I love that Latin groove. So that suits me down to the ground. So I'm really interested in listening to this. And I think it'll be fun, all three of us, actually, for a one-off. All three of us reviewing an album for next week. So
okie dokie.
Excellent stuff. Hold on. Shaunti says, can you type the name of the album into the comments so we can look it up as well?
Yes.
Joao, as you're listening, could you put that in there? Because I'm a little busy at the moment, if you don't mind, Joao. Thank you very much.
Obrigada. Very good.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's okay. So that's Matt's review for this week. Before we go into this day in history, I would like you to ask me a question.
No.
How big are your feet?
Size 8. That's a size 42.
Oh.
Really?
I've got feet like a duck.
That's a really large feet.
Yeah. Well, I'm very, very well proportioned. I've got big bits at the front and big bits at the back. So I'm very good in a storm, actually, because I'm with the big feet. I'm very well proportioned, you see.
Oh God! How about I ask her another question, Matthew?
Okay.
Joe, what do you know? What do you know this week that you didn't know last week?
Well, it's funny you should ask me that, Tracy, because I found out the Maori word for France is wee wee.
Of course it is.
Wee wee.
Wee wee. Well, it's easy to remember then.
So there you go. The Maori word for France is wee wee.
That would be a very helpful knowledge in a pub quiz.
It would, actually. It would. And I'm just going to stick with France because I've got another one for you. Despite their reputation, the French actually eat less cheese per person than the Danish, the Finnish, and the Icelanders.
Sacre bleu.
Oh, mon Dieu!
Oh, they do.
C'est incroyable, huh?
There you go. There you go.
Well, that is a surprise, I suppose, because they make so much cheese. I wonder by the same extension, do the Belgians eat less chocolate than they maybe appear to, for example?
I have a suspicion that the whole of Belgium eats less chocolate than I do. But, and probably the cheese thing as well. Cheese and chocolate. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. So little tidbits for you. So I think it's time now that we all kind of relax, we chill down a little bit, we forget about the horrid weather that we've had this week. We're moving towards the weekend. We can chill down now. It's time to relax, get zen-like for the whole of Maastricht to slow down and come to a grinding halt. Relax in your chair, put your feet up, put the kettle on, because it is time for This day.
History.
Oh, it's just poetic, isn't it? It really is. Right, I'm going to start you off on this very day, Thursday, the 8th of April, with a patent, because we do like a patent on this show. And this is quite a fun one, I think. On this day in 1766, the first fire escape was patented. It was a wicker basket on a pulley and chain.
Oh.
No, they did not think that through. Have you not seen The Wicker Man? That stuff goes up quickly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you'd be at the mercy of someone being there to pull the thing, I suppose,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if your basket's on fire, then it doesn't work, does it? I mean, really?
Oh, wow. Okay, but at least forward thinking. They were working towards the fire escape we have today.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe one of the positives is you could put some snacks in your basket. So, you know, maybe when you pull the basket up to rescue somebody, you put a few little snacks and a drink.
Yeah, well, it was a very... Oh,
Treat.
oh.
Depends how high the building is. You might want something to nibble on the way down if you're not completely petrified and puking everywhere. On this day in 1820, the famous ancient Greek statue Venus de Milo is discovered on the Aegean island of Milos. And in 1862, on this very day, we've got another patent. John D. Lind patents the aerosol dispenser. Now, of course, aerosols these days, it's a little tricky again, isn't it? It can also be a bit controversial about aerosols. We should not be using so many aerosols, but us girlies with our hairspray, what do you replace it with? I mean,
you could just not have hairspray.
Oh, well, that's useful, Tracy.
I suppose it depends. I don't know. Well, yeah, there's mousses, but they often come, and the mousse comes also in a can that sort of has an aerosol thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like deodorant you don't have to have an aerosol for, and air freshener you don't need an aerosol. Yeah. But yes, you're right. There's just some things that now that we've got them, we can't be without them, I suppose. But for those of us who like a bit of a bouffant in our hair, we have to have some hairspray. But yes, it's a bit tricky. Yes. In 1869, on this very day, the American Museum of Natural History opens in New York City. And in 1946, the League of Nations assembles for the last time. A year later, on this very day, in 1947, the largest recorded sunspot ever observed was 40 times the diameter of Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, these are numbers that I find I just can't get my head around. First of all, we have a sunspot, which, is odd. And then it's 40 times bigger than Earth. And so then we're talking, you know, how big the sun is. And oh, yeah.
It's boom.
Yeah.
So, too much.
Yeah, it's all good. On this very day in 1968, the 40th Academy Awards was postponed to April the 10th due to the death of Martin Luther King. And in 1974, on the 8th of April, Discovery Island was opened at Disney World in Florida. Now, peeps, who has been to Disney World in Florida? No.
I have not.
No, me neither. Oh, well, that's that then. We'll move on from that. I have been to Universal Studios in Florida. And that was excellent fun. That was really, really good fun. But I have a suspicion if I went to Disney World, whether it's the one in Florida or the one in Paris, or I think there's a Disneyland, isn't there, in California?
Yeah.
I'd just get all emotional because I'd just be seeing all these characters from my childhood. And I'd just be sort of, I mean, when you see Mickey Mouse, really, I mean, I would just be, oh my God, it's Mickey. I'd just be a bit silly. I'd make a fool of myself is what I'm trying to say. I would embarrass myself and I'd embarrass the people that are with me. So yes, probably best I don't. In 1983, on the 8th of April, in front of a live audience of 20 tourists, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
Ah.
Or did he?
Indeed.
I suspect he didn't. But yeah, that was what. There's 20 of them there that are going around saying, "Oh yes, yeah, it's not there. It's gone. It's definitely gone." But yeah, I'm not convinced. In 1986, on this very day, Clint Eastwood was elected mayor of Carmel in California, which really made his day.
Indeed. I love Clint Eastwood.
Do you like Clint Eastwood?
I do. I like Clint Eastwood. I do. I think he's cool. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, well, yes. I mean, he's done very well as a director. He's done some marvelous films. It's absolutely marvelous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he was in the 70s. Very handsome chappy. Great films coming out in the 70s as well. So, yes, I would recommend. Tracy and I recommend you watch some Clint Eastwood films.
Do it this weekend.
You do. In 1990, on this very day, Twin Peaks was created by David Lynch, starring Carl McLachlan, and it premiered on ABC TV. Now, Tracy, do you remember Twin Peaks?
I remember watching the first episode and Who Killed Laura Palmer, if I recall correctly. And honestly, I didn't watch. That was it. I think I tuned into the second episode and it was already gone a bit confused for me, and that was the end of it. So, yes.
It was really weird. There was lots going on. I mean, it was, Shante apparently is from California, and she remembers the day that Clint Eastwood was elected mayor.
Oh, how cool. Maybe she knows him.
No, but are you friends with him? Are you friends? Yeah. So, there you go. But yeah, weird Twin Peaks, 1990. In 1994, on the 8th of April, smoking was banned in all US military bases and the Pentagon. And coming up to more recent times, in 2019, on this very day, 600 million birds die every year in the US after striking tall buildings, with Chicago being the worst city, according to Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Now, I know that's a bit sad, but I was just thinking 600 million birds every year. That's
How can you
astonishing.
see them pile up? Like someone like clearing them away?
I suppose there's someone in
You've
the...
got 600 million birds on one building, Matt.
No, I know that, but like...
Just in the whole place.
Because you wouldn't be able to get out the building.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, there's going to be, whoever's maintaining these big buildings will probably have to, on a regular basis, be going out picking these dead birds. I mean, it's kind of sad, isn't it?
Indeed.
It is sad. And finally, on the very same day in 2019, a record 5.2 metre Burmese python that was pregnant with 73 eggs was captured in Florida's Big Cypress National Preserve.
Wow.
5.2 metres, people.
That's a big snake.
How many times have you said that in your lifetime, Tracy? Oh, that's a big snake.
Actually, I've never said it at all, I must say. But, I think snakes are cool. Don't you think snakes are cool?
I love snakes, but I'm not sure I'm
Yes.
close and personal with one that's 5.2 metres long. I mean, that's humongous.
Yes. Enormous. Yeah, but they do. I mean, they grow. They're large creatures, aren't
It's
they?
quite slow though, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have to worry too much.
Well, this one had 73 eggs, so
Yeah.
It's probably slowed him down a bit.
yeah, I think you're right there. Moving on to some birthdays. On this day in 1918, Betty Ford, the US First Lady and founder of the Betty Ford Clinic, was born in Chicago. In 1938, Kofi Annan, the the fella from Ghana, the diplomat, and the seventh Secretary General of the United Nations, was born in Kumasi on the Gold Coast. I'm so glad I picked that one out to tell you about.
Well done, dear. Well done.
On this day in 1941, Vivienne Westwood, the English fashion designer, was born in Twistle in England. And finally, in 1963, Julian Lennon, the English singer-songwriter and son of John, was born in Liverpool, England. So anybody else that they're having a birthday today, happy birthday. Hope you're
Happy
having
birthday.
wherever you are, however you are celebrating it. And that was this day in history.
Well done, dear. Well done. Very nice.
I was struggling with Ghana there.
Yes,
I think it's Ghanaian, isn't it?
Ghanaian, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you said it. I'm not even going to try. So, okay, where are we? Oh my goodness, it's that time. Tracy, I think it's probably time we had a bit of news.
Time for the news, and up next will be our guest for this
We
evening.
have our guest. Marvellous. Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's April 8th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and some light freezing is expected over the coming nights. Tomorrow will be dry and bright during the day with highs of 13. However, Saturday and Sunday will bring cloudy skies, rain, and highs of just 8 degrees. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. Cafe terraces could reopen in the Netherlands as of April 21st, and the curfew could be lifted. The government is considering these measures, but more will be known during the press conference planned next Tuesday. No decision will be made, however, without first seeing how the coronavirus infection statistics develop over the coming days. In the Netherlands, healthcare workers, the elderly, and people with medical preconditions started receiving their COVID-19 vaccine shots in January. Based on the current planning, vaccination for adults outside of the medical sector and under the age of 60 could begin mid-May. Vaccinations for 40 to 49-year-olds is due to start mid-June, and those aged 18 to 39 in late June. Police in Den Helder have arrested a 37-year-old man who was allegedly plotting to cause an explosion at a COVID-19 vaccination facility. He is suspected of having terrorist intent, but it is not yet known if he was working with any accomplices. The arrest was disclosed today, though it took place on March 18th. The suspect has been in custody since then. In other news, the Council for Public Health and Society has advised the Dutch government to take more serious steps towards reducing health inequalities and promoting healthy eating. One way to do this is to make fruit and vegetables cheaper and to introduce higher tax rates on sugary products. And it seems some 11,000 British nationals in the Netherlands need new residency permits because of technical errors with their photographs. The issue is around the biometric details which were taken at temporary offices in Amsterdam and Utrecht and resulted in photographs that do not meet the European standards. The coronavirus crisis has had a devastating effect on the travel sector, with almost a quarter of jobs disappearing in 2020. 50% of travel organizations have said they will be letting more people go this year, and a third say they will face closure or bankruptcy as a direct result of the coronavirus crisis. Moving to local news, and as of this month, Maastricht Aken Airport is officially part of the fixed network route of Qatar Airways. The route will involve 11 cargo flights per week, with cargo ranging from medical supplies to flowers and vegetables to high tech. Qatar Airways has relatively new aircraft with quieter engines. And 8 earthquakes occurred in parts of South Limburg last night, including Boerendal, Heerlen, and Hoensbroek, with the magnitude ranging from 1 to 1.8 on the Richter scale. All tremors occurred at a depth of 7 kilometers. And finally tonight, a freshly unearthed Bronze Age stone may be the oldest three-dimensional map in Europe. The 2 by 1.5 meter slab was first uncovered in 1900 and was found again in a castle cellar in France in 2014. Archaeologists who studied the patterns engraved on the 4,000-year-old stone say they believe them to be a map of Western Brittany. This makes it the oldest 3D map of a known area in Europe. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts, and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, maastrichter.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Lovely stuff, Tracy. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, so hopefully things are going to start opening up a bit more in the next, where are we? So it's the 8th day, so we've got about another 10, 12 days to go. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
It would be welcome. I mean, if the weather is decent and people are able to get out on terraces and the curfew is lifted,
There's a lot of ifs.
there's a few ifs there. That's true.
Yeah.
Then let's see. First if is whether it will go ahead. So I guess next week, Tuesday, the press conference we'll hear more. But I think it would certainly be something welcome from people if it does go ahead. So we should.
Yeah, that's sitting out on a terrace with friends with a cheeky little glass of wine. Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
And I think also our habits have changed so much in the last year, but during the winter it's been a little easier to not go out, of course, and socialise. But now that we are coming, never mind this week's weather, but now that we are actually coming into, we've got spring and summer and the weather is getting warmer and we want to go out and play. The thought that we couldn't do that, I think, would be devastating. So the fact that there is a chink of light, a little hope, that's very positive. This is good. It's
good news. Good news for local businesses. And indeed, when we get chatting with our guest, they also have quite a lovely terrace. So I'm sure this will be good news for them as well.
Well, yeah, let's get Peter on the show now, because he's in a prime position to be telling us about socialising outdoors, because, as you said, there's a little secret he's going to be telling us about that's part of Stayokay Maastricht, and Peter's in the house. Hello, Peter De Beer.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome to the Maastricht edition.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Lovely to have you.
It's good to have you. And as we were saying, you're in one of those industries, actually, which is about getting people out and about. You are part of Stayokay in Maastricht. For those people out there who haven't got a clue what that is, maybe you could enlighten us a little bit.
Well, I will try to do that. We're situated on the banks of the Maas River, across the Stadspark, on the Maas Boulevard. It's a very nice part of Maastricht, just outside the city center. We've been there for, I'm not sure, I think about 10 to 15 years already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and well, we are a hostel, as you call it. Stayokay has 20 hostels throughout the country. And the most southern one is in Maastricht. And it's one of the nicest as well. And it's very recently renovated. We were in the middle of renovating the hostel when the pandemic hit us. So that was, of course, not very nice, but it was
good timing.
Yeah.
We were planning to be open during the renovation times, so that was quite a challenge. And when the pandemic hit us, it gave us the opportunity to close down. Well, actually, we had to close down.
Yeah.
But it was much easier for the constructor to finish the renovation. And we were able to reopen in, the end of June last year. It seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Especially when you see what we were able to do at that time. You know, we could have guests for drinks, for food, to stay overnight. Everything was possible. Well, we had to stay in 1.5 meter, of course.
Yeah.
But then we had a very nice summer, and after the summer we had to close down again. And now it is, well, very quiet in our beautifully renovated hostel, and we had renovated it also to be able to offer a very nice area for the people from Maastricht. And well, we're gonna redo it. We opened last year, but that was for a very short period of time. So whenever our people in The Hague tell us that we can open up again, we will be open for Maastricht people as well.
It's wonderful, because it's not only a hostel. Yeah, I was going to say it's not only a hostel, but of course, you guys, yeah, like you mentioned, Peter, they're in a beautiful location, very within walking distance from the city centre,
Yeah.
and you have that fabulous deck out the back where people can sit and enjoy a drink or food and watch the lovely
Yeah.
scenes along the river. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
and some of the Maastricht people had already discovered it, but it's not, luckily it's not that popular as the Vrijthof or the Onze Lieve Vrouwenplein. You know,
They are,
forget
they
about
are quite
squares.
popular. Yes, indeed.
I must say, before the renovation, our accommodation was not very cozy. The scenery was beautiful, and we didn't change that. We wouldn't have done it even if we could. But I think we've created a really nice, as we call it, social living space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you could clear something up for us, Peter, because
Yeah.
for many people, when they think hostels, they just think students, cheap accommodation. But yeah, backpackers. What is actually the difference between a hotel and a hostel?
Well, we would like to say the difference between a hotel and a hostel is the letter S, which stands for social.
Okay.
So the biggest difference is that people that stay in our place, they want to meet other people. They want to enjoy the surroundings in the city. We are very honest about it. Our rooms are basic, but good. You have a good bed, you have a good shower. So the basic necessities are all very fine. But if you stay in a hostel, you stay to meet other people, but especially to explore, in this case, the city. And you're not going to stay in for a weekend. What you probably would do in a nice, comfortable hotel with room service and wellness and everything. Well, we don't have that, but we do have a very cozy atmosphere. We can accommodate about 200 hostel guests, and that's one of the other differences between a hotel and a hostel, that we have rooms that are suitable for more than 2 people.
Right.
Okay. So you guys in the hostel, I guess it's the traditional, as we call it, dormitory style room. So you'll have like 8 to 10 beds in one space.
No.
Do you get no?
No. We in Maastricht we don't have that. Actually, there's only one hostel that we own in Amsterdam that still has the big dorms.
Okay.
So in Maastricht we have a very nice double rooms on the Maas side. Actually a hotel room, but without the things you don't need, like television, because you would like to speak to real people. Mini bar, because we have drinks and food downstairs.
Gotcha.
So and next to that we also have rooms suitable for 4 people and 6 people. So
okay.
I think 6, well, maybe 7 people is the largest room, and every room has its own bathroom. Not like the traditional hostels.
Right. Yeah.
Where you have to shower.
I think historically that may have put people off, the idea of having to share a bathroom.
I can understand. Yeah, but it's, what you said, Joe. Of course, it's basic and it's cheap accommodation. So yes, we're not expensive, and that is because we are a very sustainable company, and we believe that everybody should be able to travel. So we think it should be affordable to stay anywhere in the world. So that's why we're part of the Hosteling International community.
It depends what your priorities are, doesn't it? Because I know if I'm going away for a weekend, as long as I can get a good night's sleep, then I'm not really bothered about the accommodation so much. If it's clean and I've got a comfortable bed and my own bathroom, then that's pretty much it. If you're staying somewhere longer, then I think you want a bit more comfort.
Well, we cannot guarantee the good night's sleep. That's part of that depends on the party you're with or the party you're celebrating.
True.
It's completely up to yourself.
Indeed.
I don't know what other things you're offering there, Peter, but I'm just going to be sleeping.
But it's quite interesting, Peter, you mentioned about being like a sustainable company, and that ties into another topic we wanted to cover this evening, which is your involvement with local cleanup activities in the city. And there was one quite recently, I think in April, if I recall. How important is this side of things to you guys as a local company here in Maastricht?
Well, it's very important. We find it very important to be locally active. And as I said, we're a very sustainable company, so we hate plastic and everything that goes with it. And every year we participate in the annual cleanup day, and I think that was the end of March. That was the day that we celebrated throughout the Netherlands and maybe throughout the world. I'm not sure, but we did a small extra exercise with Easter. So and what we did, we have hidden some golden Easter eggs around the hostel for people that were going out to clean up the area to find them, and we had a little gift, little present for the people that found golden eggs.
Nice.
But we're, it is very extremely important that we keep our environment clean. So we have to start at our own doorstep. And
I seem to remember, Tracy, actually, maybe a couple of weeks ago in the news, you were mentioning about litter being a problem. Even now, when there's not so many people out and about, but there still happens to be a problem with litter, and there hasn't been anybody on the streets. So where was this litter coming from?
Yeah, it beats me, but we had a small presentation from our sustainability coordinator about this action, and we had discovered that we found a lot of cigarettes. So people throw them on the ground, and we had expected maybe to find a lot of mouth caps as well, but throughout the country, we only found 70 mouth caps. So that was quite good.
That sounds like a lot to me.
But I think there's still a lot of people outside, don't you think? During not in the evening,
for sure.
But the day they are.
Yeah. During the daytime and the weekend, and particularly with the exception of the few days we've just had, the weather has been pretty mild, late March, early April. And, we had the change in the clock. So there was a little bit of an extra hour of light in the evening. And people go to the park or sit along the waterfront. And sadly,
speaking about the park, the park has been very busy, and it's been out on the news as well. Different parks throughout the country, but also the Stadspark in Maastricht was very crowded, and apparently people that go there, which I can fully understand that they want to go out and about, but they leave their rubbish just out there, and it's really ridiculous. And well, that's why we say let's clean it up. It's in front of your door, and of course somebody else put it there, but we don't know who that was, so let's pick it up and clean it up.
You have a perfect opportunity here, Peter, if you want to encourage people to come and join you in the cleanup. What would you like to say?
Well, I would like to say that they're too late because
we missed it for this time.
We missed it. But it's every year in March. There's the cleanup day, but that's organized all together. But you can, it's so easy to step out your door, take a garbage bag, and pick up what you find. There's actually a trend going on that I'm not sure how they call it. It's when you go out jogging or running and cleaning up litter at the same time. There's a name for it. I think it comes from Scandinavia somewhere. And I like it. I really like the idea.
It's a nice.
It's quite sad, isn't it, that this is required. That people can't take responsibility for their own rubbish, and
that's what it is.
Other people have to clean up after other people's. Really frustrating.
They can carry these bags of produce and stuff to the park, so why can't they carry the litter away?
Because the bin is too far away, I guess. No, it's ridiculous, but that's where we all should start, by cleaning up your own mess, and then and then take a little bit of somebody else's mess, and then we'll be fine, and hopefully there will be no cleanup day necessary anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be the ideal scenario. Peter, may I ask you? There's a discussion that possibly next week on Tuesday there'll be a press conferencing announcing that terraces can open again and the curfew will be lifted. How much of positive news is this for you and your hostel?
Well, that's very positive. I am a known optimist, but during this pandemic, I have been transferred into a realist. I'm not sure if it's going to be the truth. It's a very good perspective, but I also hear some sounds from the OMT that they think it's too early. The hospitals are full. The numbers are today. The number was higher again than the other days. We will wait, but that would be very good news.
Mm.
And the terrace is out there, so it
Yeah.
will be very helpful for us because we are open for hostel guests only, but they're not allowed to eat in our restaurant. They're not allowed to eat or drink on our terrace, so they can pick up a drink or some food in our the fifth area, but then they have to take it up to their room. Now that's not what the S in hostel stands for. That's not social at all. So if at least we get some opportunity to be open, if it's just the terrace, then that would be great. And I really hope that we're going to be able to do this, but I don't know.
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed for you, Peter, and everybody out there who has a business that are in the same situation.
And apart from only our terrace, it really helps us if we reopen up terraces throughout the city and the shops and museums.
Yeah.
Because then people will start to want to travel again and want to come to Maastricht.
Yeah.
And they can stay with us. So that would be very positive. But
if you open, they will come.
Yes, they will for sure.
Well, we've seen that last year. The German people, the Belgian people, really.
So if people do want to come and stay with you, Peter, what's the best way of finding you? How do they go about it?
Just visit our website, stayokay.com.
Okay, as easy as that. And I think there's a Facebook page as well. Yeah,
we're on Facebook as well. I think we're on Instagram. So
you're on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
So Stayokay
Maastricht. We should put all of your details onto our socials as well at the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter. We really wish you lots of luck with the opening of the terrace. I'm sure it won't be long. And
we hope so, and I hope to see all of you live in Stayokay Maastricht.
Yes.
Oh, sounds good to me, for sure. Although I'm not sure I want to share a room with these two, if I'm honest.
Oh, that's not necessary. Just start with drinks.
Let's start with a drink on the terrace and watch the sun go down over
the yeah, we start drinking on the terrace, we'll definitely be sharing a room with each other by the end of it. Right. I can guarantee that. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter, and we hope to see you again soon.
Good luck with the show.
Thanks ever so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we go. How nice.
Now you know this terrace, don't you, Tracy?
I do. Well, I've seen it. I haven't had the pleasure to sit and enjoy it, but I have seen it, and it's beautifully located behind the actual hostel itself, and it just stretches out the back. And you kind of look left, and you can see the Ritter Brewery and Maastricht breweries down the far end, and the old bridge, and then you look to the other side. It's a beautiful spot. But yeah, I guess it's a pity that they can't really use it right now. So let's see.
Well, fingers crossed it won't be for long. Yeah. Peter's in the house. Good evening, Peter. Lovely to have you with us. Ellie as well. Hello, Ellie.
Hello.
Well.
Hello.
I think it's probably time for Matt to go Dutch. What have you got for us this week, Matt? Tulips. Oh, don't they look lovely?
Beautiful. A gift from whom?
From one of Jacob's colleagues came over.
Oh, nice.
Just one person.
Yeah, okay. I always think it's terrible that we have to justify ourselves all the time. Yes, but this one person, tulips, which is really good.
Yeah,
very nice.
And they inspired me for my segment today. So I was like, what should I talk about today? I was like, maybe I should talk about something related to spring. I was like, I could talk about tulips. And I was like, I know, I'll talk about the tulip mania. So we're going to talk about the tulip mania.
Oh, yes. I know a little bit about this. And mania it was.
Is it anything like Beatles mania?
I don't know.
No.
Yes, I suppose.
Tell us, Matthew.
People went crazy. That's the similarity, I suppose.
Yes.
Yes.
So I also only knew a little bit about this, and I thought, I'll read into it, and maybe it'll be interesting. It is interesting.
It is.
So obviously the Dutch are very famous for tulips. Everybody thinks of Dutch tulips. They've got tulips, the kokenhof. Tulips, all the different colours, so like one of those traditional things like clogs and cheese, and then there's tulips. So if you live here, or if you visited, you'll see them everywhere in shops, in the parks, and of course we have the kokenhof, which is I think it's like the world's biggest tulip garden or something. But did you know that in the 16th and 17th centuries, the humble tulip could sell for 5 times the price of a house? So just one bulb could sell
That's
for
nuts.
more than 5 times the value of a house, or more than a full year's salary for like a normal working man. And the period's commonly known as the tulip mania, because there was an economic collapse in 1637, brought about by this crazy time. So we need to go back to the beginning, because tulips came to the Netherlands for the first time during the 1500s, when they were imported from Turkey via Vienna. So it went through the Holy Roman Empire and made their way all the way up to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And then a botanist called Carolus Clusius cultivated them in Leiden, and he founded the Hortus Academicus, which is the oldest botanical garden in the Netherlands. You can still visit it in Leiden when we can all move around again. You can all go visit it. And there he sort of grew these tulips for the first time in Northern Europe. And he discovered that these flowers were really quite hardy, so they could survive the cold weather, maybe not the snow, but generally cold, windy, wet weather. And they were really quite hardy, so they were perfect for this environment. And they were very colourful, very bright, like these ones. The whole petal is one colour and it's really bright. And during that period, they didn't really have those sort of flowers in Europe, so they were considered very exotic, very special, and they soon became a status symbol for rich people. So everyone wanted to have the next variety of tulips. So people started developing lots of different varieties of tulip, and there were some which were more common, like the ones I have here, common, just one colour. And there were 4 types of tulip. So there is, hang on, I wrote it down somewhere. The Coleran, which is this one I have here, which is the single colour, and they were either red, yellow, or white. Since then, they've developed a lot more. Then there's the Rosen, which had white streaks on a red or pink background. So that's the second. So there's the Coleran, the most common. Then the Rosen, which is slightly less common. Then there's the Violetten, which was white stripes on a purple or violet background. Ooh. And the rarest of all was the Bezarden. And these were, they had yellow or white stripes on a red, brown, or purple background. So these were so rare. So these were the ones that you could get for the price of a house. So like 5 times the value of a house. This was what one bulb, that's what it was worth. It was worth so much to these people because it was so rare, because no one else could have it. So if you had it, it showed how rich and powerful you were. And this was the time of the Dutch Golden Age, between 1600 and 1720, when the Dutch were at the top, the peak of their economic development. They were sort of the most powerful and richest country in Europe. And so there were a lot of rich people around, there was lots of money going around, and people wanted to show off their wealth. And having one of these really rare tulips was part of that. But one of the reasons they became so expensive was because tulip bulbs can take 7 to 12 years to develop. So the period when you start growing them, it can take you so long to get to that very rare variety that the prices kept going up and up and up. And an extra thing that made it more expensive was that these Bezarden, the rarest ones with the streaks, they were caused by a mosaic virus. So the streaks were actually caused by a virus. It wasn't sort of a natural development within the flower, which meant that the bulb developed even slower, so it took even longer. And that is why these varieties became so expensive. So eventually the Dutch created a market, like an official market to sell these flowers. And I'm going to talk to you about that next week, because I decided this was too much information to tell you in one go.
Well, I think it's astonishing, isn't it, that they would spend that much on one tulip bulb. And when you consider we're encouraged these days to block plant so that you have a huge section of 20, 30 bulbs in one area, so you have a block of colour, you wouldn't have been able to do that then. You have one singular tulip because it's the price of a house. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Indeed, how times change. I mean, you can buy tulips now, a little bunch in, a local supermarket for €3, for example, a small bunch.
Exactly.
So it's strange, but lovely. I like tulips. Tulips and roses are my go-to flowers if I'm having something in a vase in the house. So yeah, indeed. But lovely to see them. I grew grew tulips once outside in a pot, but only 1 year. They didn't grow back the next year.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, I know. So I have to see. But I think I've missed the planting time for tulips already. So I have to wait.
Yes.
If you can sow the seeds. I'm too late now. So I'll go with
you have to do your bulbs between October and December, ideally.
Oh, I'm well, very, very.
Yes, yes. You can sometimes do them in January if they're late flowering, but generally that's the go-to time. So yes, you'll have to wait till later in the year. Well, thank you for that, Matt. That was interesting stuff for sure. Irene's with us this evening, all the way from España. Hello, Irene. And Paul as well. Hello, Paul. Unfortunately, you joined us at the end of the programme. So where have you been? But before we go, I think Tracy's got a couple of titty bitties for us.
Yes, indeed. Well, a quick reminder to keep in mind Maastrichter.com and also #Maastricht, who are still posting stuff. Not everything is open, but things are slowly moving. Merchandise House of D is also now accessible because Jan Marktkraam and Maastricht reopened again for private shopping. And Meet Maastricht are also still offering private tours. So keep all these folks in mind and support local.
Yes.
Next to that, we're going to have a flashback to last week. We had our lovely Brazilian guitarist, João Neves, who was our lovely guest and performed live for us on air, which was fabulous. And just a note that if you're at home tomorrow evening and you fancy some online concert entertainment, João is actually performing with a lady called Lara Huvenaar, and they'll be doing streaming a live concert at 8 o'clock our time tomorrow evening. So we'll do a little post in our post-show post after the show in case you want to sign up for that. It's going to be a concert of pop, R&B, soul and guitar and voice in order to celebrate spring. Isn't that lovely?
Hurrah!
Nice and positive. And I also have another one. I mentioned already some private shopping, but for those of you who are into spot of vintage, pre-loved clothes, make do, reuse again, Dot and Square Vintage have now got personal kind of shopping moments on offer, which sound very cool. You get a half an hour in their store, and they also throw in a bit of tea and coffee, and you can bring a friend. It's all very nice, and they have a nice open store there. You still need to wear your mask and all the rest of it, but at least it's nice that there are some newer things that people can try out and get a bit of retail therapy, which is always good.
Lovely stuff. Excellent. Yes, and very much looking forward to the concert with João tomorrow. That will be a lovely round up to the end of the week, sort of Friday night, bit of dinner, concert on the telly with João with some sexy little numbers going on there. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Maybe you could be listening to it, Matthew, while you're doing your cooking, as you so much like to be jigging to some music while you cook. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this evening. We've had loads of people with us this evening, lots of comments, which is always very nice. Thank you to Peter De Beer from Stayokay Maastricht. As Tracy said, all of these details will be on our post-show post at the end of the show. We shall be back next week. Have a lovely weekend, whatever it is that you're doing. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.